All right, let's dive into something that's absolutely critical for anyone who employs staff: employer liability. We're going to take a close look at how French law sees your duty to keep your people safe. And you might be surprised to find out that just writing a safety rule, well, it might not be the protection you think it is. So, picture this. You've spotted a risk, you've written a super clear safety rule for it, and you've even had your employees sign on the dotted line. You're covered, right? Well, maybe not. We're about to see why that piece of paper might not be the legal armor you're counting on. To really get to grips with this, we're going to look at a very real-world, very simple example: a lawnmower that's been around for about 20 years, a gardener, and a known problem. It's a simple story, but trust me, it unpacks the complex reality of your safety obligations today. Okay, so here's the setup. An employer's got this trusty old lawnmower. It's 20 years old, but it works. The only issue, it has this nasty habit of getting clogged up with grass. So to deal with it, the employer creates a special rule for how to unjam it safely. On the surface, that sounds responsible, doesn't it? But this is exactly where the law starts to get really interesting. You see, ever since a big court ruling back in 2015, the game has changed. Employers in France are now under what's called a reinforced obligation of means. And what that really means is it's not good enough anymore to just show you took some steps to be safe. You have to be able to prove that you did everything necessary to stop an accident from happening in the first place. And here's the kicker. That safety rule, it's a double-edged sword. Because while it shows you were trying to do the right thing, it's also perfect proof that you were 100% aware of a specific, repeating danger. And in a courtroom, that awareness, well, that's everything. So how does a judge decide if you've met this tough new standard? Well, the French National Research and Safety Institute, the INRS, has this brilliant three-part test. It asks three simple questions. Was your safety measure useful? Was it usable? And was it actually used? Let's see how this plays out. Think of these as three hurdles your safety rule has to clear. First, utile, or useful. Does the rule actually solve the real problem? Is it effective? Second, utilisable, or usable. Can your employee realistically follow this rule in their everyday work? Is it practical? And third, utilisé, or used. Is there a system in place to make sure it's being followed all the time, not just forgotten about after the first week? All right, time to put it to the test. Let's apply this three-part framework to our lawnmower case. How does that golden rule for unjamming the machine really hold up when you put it under the microscope? First up, the useful test. Is the rule truly useful? The answer is a hard no. The law is very clear. You have to replace what's dangerous with something that's less dangerous. Modern mowers have built-in safety features that stop the blade automatically. They eliminate the risk entirely. So putting a rule on an outdated machine is just a band-aid. The equipment itself is the problem, which means the rule isn't truly useful. That's a fail. Okay, next hurdle. Is the rule usable? And again, it fails. I mean, think about it. If the machine clogs up constantly and you're under pressure to get the job done, are you really going to follow a tricky, time-consuming safety step every single time? Especially if you haven't been given the right tools, like a safety hook or proper gloves? A rule that's hard to follow is a rule that's going to get broken. And finally, was the rule actually used? This is where ongoing management is so important, and it's our third and final fail. Safety is not a set-it-and-forget-it task. A year had passed, there was no refresher training, no quick checks to see if the rule was being followed, no one asking the gardener if they were having any issues. A safety culture needs constant attention, not just a signature on a piece of paper. So, with the safety measures failing on all three of those counts, the legal conclusion becomes pretty much unavoidable. Let's look at the verdict a court would almost certainly deliver in this case. This quote from French case law says it all. It means the employer's mistake doesn't have to be the only cause or even the main cause of an accident. If their failure, like providing outdated gear, was just one necessary link in the chain of events that led to the injury, then that's it. Their liability is engaged. So the verdict here is what they call faute inexcusable, or inexcusable fault. Let's just quickly recap why. The employer's awareness was proven by their own rule. The equipment was old and unsafe by modern standards. The rule failed the useful, usable, and used tests. And there was zero ongoing safety management. Oh, and here's a critical point. This doesn't just apply to big companies, it applies to private individuals too. There are no exceptions. Now, if the legal and moral arguments aren't enough, let's just talk about the financial reality. Let's put the cost of doing things right up against the cost of an accident. Take a look at this. A new professional-grade, totally safe lawnmower might set you back around 3,000 euros. The potential cost of an accident, when you factor in everything that comes with an inexcusable fault ruling, you're easily looking at over 100,000 euros. The math is pretty simple, isn't it? Prevention isn't really an expense. It's an investment to protect yourself from a catastrophic risk. Okay, so what should you be doing? Let's flip this cautionary tale around and turn it into a practical, actionable guide to make sure you're meeting your obligations and, most importantly, keeping your people safe. Here's your checklist. Immediate actions. Audit your gear against current standards. Give your people the right tools and real hands-on training. And update your official risk assessment documents to show you know about these hazards. Then, on an ongoing basis, keep an eye out for warning signs. How often are things jamming? Are people taking shortcuts? And for the long term, you absolutely must have a plan to modernize and replace equipment when it's no longer up to snuff. This isn't just good practice. It is your legal duty. So, we'll end with this question for you to really think about. That piece of machinery you use every day, is it truly an asset that helps you get the job done? Or, when you look at it through the lens of the law, has it silently become your single greatest liability? Thanks for watching.